Phil, if you don't make a Crash Bandicoot game, though, I will find you. I'll come to your Xbox event and be like, Phil, where's Crash?
Ethan's gonna show up with a posse of Crash suits.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I am one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Hunter and Kyle. Hey, guys, how are you doing?
I'm doing just swell.
It's good to be here. We've been holding this up back long enough. I feel like it gets worse every year, right? We always do this kind of 6 months in review kind of episode. We've done it. This is the third year in a row where we've done this. Where we're like, let's take a look at the first year so far and see how it's going. And first year we were on time. Second year it was like the end of June, and we were like, we've made it, guys. We're good enough, close enough. And then this shit's like middle of July. We've got no excuse either. We can't even say, "Oh, guys, games have been out. We've been busy. We've pushed it back." We just really want to talk about platformers for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we've just been doing the topics for reasons that are. We just saved this one for a rainy day once we ran out of ideas.
Which is funny because usually we don't save anything in the bank, and we usually just do it now. Do it. That's an idea. We'll take it. We'll take those. An idea, perfect. Hunter came up with something this week because me and Kyle aren't coming up with it. So it's like it's going to be an interesting one because it's been an interesting year for games. So that's basically the agenda this week. Is we're going to go through.
It's been a very uneven year, is how I would describe it.
It has been.
That's a good word for it.
We'll get into it, but yeah, we're going to do the first 6.5 months of this year from January 1st all the way to July 17th, which is the day we're recording this. Well, sorry, it's the 16th technically, but 17th for me. Yeah, whatever.
Time
you know what? Now you know when we're recording because it's a different day. It's fine. Whatever. Ooh. But yeah, basically until the middle of July. So, and then we'll cover the rest of it as we go through the year, because a lot of these games, if you're wondering, oh no, they're not going to talk about Xenoblade and all that stuff. Well, obviously you'll have your Xenoblade episode. You probably have like 2 Xenoblade episodes now.
Yeah, the Xenoblade episodes do the numbers too. So
you better watch it. But no, so we're going to talk about everything that's come out. We're going to talk about the year in general, because it's been a weird year for games. I feel like I said that last year, but I feel like this year it's even more so. So I feel like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about everything that's been coming out, what has and hasn't happened, what's been delayed, what hasn't, what we've ended up playing, what we've ended up skipping. We'll go through it all today. But yeah. Anyway, this is the HGO podcast. Every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, you can catch us on your favourite podcast servers or slightly later on YouTube, where we talk to you about everything we love in the world of gaming. Thank you for all of your reviews so far. Thank you for all your support on podcasts and on video. We appreciate each and every one of you. Tiny bit of housekeeping. Hunter's got an AI Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative review up now, and that's not a mouthful.
It is a lot of words to say.
Usually our review title kind of format is X game is X game worth it? X game review. AI The Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative is 50 characters, so I could only put that in once, never mind twice. So it was like, where do I stick it? So anyway, please go watch it. Hunter did a great job. I don't know, because I'm going to play that game and I don't want to know anything, so I didn't even look at it. I saw that the video worked and was like, good enough. Upload.
Yeah.
Please go check it out in my place and give Hunter some feedback and some support. That'd be greatly appreciated. And there'll be more reviews and all that jazz coming up soon. We've got some big games coming up. We've got Xenoblade. We've got Stray. I'm sure we'll cover.
Do you guys like cats?
I like cats. We'll be playing that next week. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff to come. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started then. Let's get some overall thoughts, right? Because, like I say, it's been an extremely weird year for games. Uneven is a perfect word for it, Hunter. You used that earlier.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, we're going to do a play-by-play. We'll talk about the Fantasy Critic. We'll do all that jazz. But, Hunter, how have you felt about 2022 as a year for video games?
So, it's interesting because I think that the things that have come out so far that, are new are pretty solid as far as like I liked Horizon quite a bit. I played Arcadia Fallen at like the very start of the year, and I liked that. Sifu was really good, and AI Somnium Files just came out, and I really liked that. But there's been this massive gap in the center where I've just been like, oh, I'll play these backlog games and all that. And that's been up and down. And now, like, towards the end of the year, it seems like it's just going to get super packed in at the end, like October, bleeding into November. So, you know, I wish it could have been spread out a little bit more. It would have been more comfortable.
You know, I feel like we've been expecting since 2020, we've been expecting what I feel most people have been deeming the COVID year, where everything kind of, not that COVID happened this year, but development is like, it's going to trickle down, the effects of COVID trickle down to a year eventually where stuff gets halted. And to me, 2022 definitely feels to me like this is the COVID year of games have been pushed, whether it is God of War that was supposed to be the first half of this year getting yeeted into November and probably barely just making it, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's stuff like Starfield getting pushed all the way out, which is probably now going to release in June. Well, I mean, everyone saw Starfield being delayed coming, right? But being flung that far out, Forspoken was supposed to come out early this year and has been delayed all the way to January of next year.
Yeah, the Forspoken's release date has been dribbled like a soccer ball, like genuinely.
Yeah, they're just passing that
parcel. Starts at one end of the field and they're just like, pew, pew.
But you know,
who drafted it, it's been an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I bet. But you know, like you say, it definitely, the highs, especially earlier in the year, were extremely high, and we had that month and a half period where there was plenty of stuff. Everyone was eating good. We had, you know, we had a good Pokemon game for the first time in a decade, basically. You had you had Horizon Forbidden West. You had Elden Ring that blew the fuck up. Like you said, Hunter, you had Sifu. You had so many little bits and pieces that they came out all within the same month kind of period, and they were all great. Which, you know, speaking of the first 6 months of last year, you know, there were games, but there weren't many. It was a very kind of, well, they didn't knock our socks off, let's say that much. They were great, they were good games, but they were few and far between. But there was more of a steady pace. We didn't just have January through February and that's it. It was like we had like one game every month or so, whereas it feels like the first half of this year we had 3 weeks that were jam-packed, and then a desert where like a few games was scattered in between, like the 2D Mario cutscenes where you just see like the things get chucked into the levels as they fly away. You know, because it's like we've had some brilliant games. We've had games come out this year that were better than every single game that came out last year, but it's been so long since we've had them, really. You know, Horizon and Elden Ring came out in February and it's now July. I don't know, Kyle, you brought an interesting point up before we started the podcast, how you've only played 2 games this year. Do you want to talk about your whole like 2022 for you? Because two for you is even low than usual. You've usually played more than 2. That's awful for even your standards.
The thing is, like, 2022 has had a lot of games. I'm not going to deny that. It's just, it's not stuff that falls into my wheelhouse of things I'd play. Most of it is predominantly just like open world stuff, which I don't click with games like Horizon and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know how I feel about the first Horizon. Like, I gave it a chance, and it just did not click with me. And I've never played a Souls game, and Elden Ring seems like the worst place to start. But
I feel like it'd be the one you'd like the least, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're not an open world fan, that is definitely the worst place for you to start.
But like, there's been like, obviously, like, I won't deny stuff has been coming out. It's just stuff that doesn't appeal to me.
It's just like it's been such a weird, because again, it's like, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful because there's been plenty of great games, but it's just felt like this kind of trickle where it's like here's a game randomly, and then it's like wait an arbitrary amount of time. Whereas like usually the games industry is a bit more structured, where it's like there's usually like two big games coming out every month. It's like this year's been
Yeah, and then it's like a matter of if I actually care about it rather than if
Yeah.
anything's going to be there. Like normally, like the October and November kind of months are the ones where all the holiday stuff for the normies comes out that I typically am like, find something else to play.
yeah we
But
we
like
jokingly call it normie
October,
month. Yeah,
even
Yeah.
October and November now have things that I'm going to be looking into.
far too many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, we should probably we'll talk about the future as well. We'll talk about the jumbled mess as well later on. But let's start where the year started in January. Are you shocked? Wow, we started in January.
Wow.
That's crazy. It's hard to kind of admit, but let's start in January. I'm just padding for time as I get up the Wikipedia article. Don't you worry, podcast listeners. I'm not going crazy. But anyway, let's scroll all the way to the top. So January was a very slow start to the year.
yeah.
There wasn't really, which January is always slow. Let me get that out of the way. January is usually the slowest month for games, and with good reason, because it's just after the holidays. People are not spending as much. It's usually a quiet period. I usually call January the Square Enix month, because this is where Square Enix just usually throws something out there because it's free real estate. They do it every time. They intended to do it with Remake before it got pushed. They did it with Kingdom Hearts 3. They're doing it with Forspoken next year. It's their
They did it. They did it this year with fucking Kingdom Hearts on Switch.
They did, but that doesn't really count. I'm not counting that. They didn't.
I know. I'm just saying they did it this year.
Yeah, and usually it's the end of January where you got that one game that everyone will like gravitate towards because it's the first new thing and all that. Like, yeah, a couple of years ago it was like Resi and Kingdom Hearts kind of filling that slot.
Yeah. But you know, there were some games that came out, obviously. I don't know. I'm not really going to mention ports because I feel like ports is just like it's hit or miss, right? Because like I played The Pedestrian when it came on Xbox. Did I know that it was out on PlayStation the year before? Fuck no. But you know, it was out there. There were games like that. I feel like the big ones. I will mention this port because it was like the big PC release of the month was God of War. Came out on PC.
Yeah,
that thing
that
fucking
happened.
slapped for them, which is not surprising in the slightest, but there you go. But you did have some games come out, like River City Girls came out, Nobody Saved the World came out.
Yeah, Nobody Saves the World came out, and that was real good. I didn't play it till it came to PlayStation a few months later, but it was a really solid game. Drinkbox is a good studio, and the way they paced it out with the way you would unlock your different classes was really well structured. I felt like the further along you got, the more rewarding they were to play as. So, yeah.
I dabbled with it a tiny bit on Xbox. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it was still well made. I still respected it. Like I was like, I can respect this. It's just not for me. Didn't pique my interest. Kind of
having someone to play it with probably helped too.
Definitely.
I probably would have been a little bit more. I would have found it a little bit more tedious if I was trying to unlock all those things with only myself.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Obviously, there were some massive bombs. I do want to throw this one out. There was a Tom Clancy game that came out in January called Rainbow Six Extraction that did that terror. It was a Game Pass day one, and it imploded instantly. So everyone sitting there, remember, I feel like if there's a category this year, I know Babylon's Fall is like prime position to lose biggest flop of the year, but don't forget Ubisoft has had one flop this year, and they're gonna have a second with Skull and Bones. So you know they're in contention. They're not letting that category go too easily this year.
Remember when Rainbow Six Extraction was originally like called Rainbow Six Quarantine?
Yeah, and then COVID happened, so they changed it. Yeah. Funny. Anyway, there's plenty of little indie games, little different stuff like that, but obviously. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection came to PS5 as well, if you're into that. We'll talk about it. Xbox has obviously been slacking this year, but for those people thinking that there's been a bit of a dry spell for PlayStation and Nintendo, there has not been a dry spell for PlayStation and Nintendo. They've released quite a bit of shit this year, whether it is for
Yeah.
Windows or for PS5 with stuff like Uncharted. There's been quite a bit. But obviously the big release of January, you played it, Kyle, I played it. I feel like a lot of people played it, was Pokemon Legends Arceus. We were pretty positive on the game 7 months ago.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
Before we started recording, I forgot that I played it.
That's the spirit.
So, I don't know, no, like nothing against the game. It was fun. I had my fun with it, but like January was a long time ago.
Yeah, January was a while ago.
I'm
You could
never one to
forget anything
replay.
came out.
Yeah, I'm never one to replay Pokemon games, but my opinions haven't changed on it. I still think it's a fantastic little game.
Yeah,
It's not the
doesn't
most polished
overstay its welcome.
experience. It's also not it's not the most kind of like I don't know what to
It's not
say.
groundbreaking.
It's not groundbreaking. It's not revolutionary.
good,
It's
though.
not kind of
It's functional.
Yeah, it's functional. I'm trying
It's
to. I don't know what-
Pokemon.
A breath
you
of fresh air compared to
fresh
the
air.
structure
No,
of the games.
I'm trying to say it's not like when you get addicted to a game, you kind of get stuck in the world. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Immersive.
Thank you. No, does it? It's not. Is it immersive? No, who fucking cares?
Interesting.
No. Who
Junk
knows?
food.
I'll just sit here and think and sit
Neat.
in the corner. I'll sit in the corner and think about what I've done because I can't.
Enthralling.
Engrossing.
There you go.
Thank you. It's not the most engrossing game in the world, but it's still a fun time. And like you said, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think it was fab, and I really hope Game Freak does more with it. I really do. I really hope there's another Pokemon Legends game because it was great.
I'll say this though, I had a lot of fun writing the review for that game.
Which is up on YouTube. There's a short as well, and you can tell because you can go to the YouTube channel. I have my face like this.
It's also the only short on the channel.
Yeah, it is the only short on the channel. I do want to do shorts again in the future. I think they're going to go on the Clips channel though if we ever do another short because
That's
I
a
don't like
better idea.
I don't like I don't like the way that shorts are in the same tab as videos. If they had YouTube really needs to sort out like a videos, live streams.
I don't
shorts tabs
understand
so that everything
why
can be
they
organized.
don't organize it the way that it works on the YouTube Studio, because on the YouTube Studio there is a separate Shorts tab.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. But they're both
Goofy.
up. So if you want to spend 60 seconds or 12 minutes, whatever it is, it's a long review, long ass review. It took me forever to edit, so please go watch it.
I had
I'd
a lot
appreciate
to
it.
say.
Yeah, and I had a lot to
Unfortunately,
edit.
now those words are eluding me.
Yeah, it's a shame. Oh well, at least you wrote them. At least you wrote them down before you forgot them.
Yeah.
So yeah, February came, and February was obviously a big thing. Also, Kyle, I'm sorry, I have to tell you, the
up?
Kingdom Hearts Instagram masterpiece for Cloud was actually February 10th, so it wasn't in January. They pushed it a
February
couple
and
of weeks.
January are the same month.
True, but obviously,
It was winter. It was cold.
don't worry. I'm going to remind you that some games did come out this year, so don't worry. If you thought that you forgot about Pokemon Legends Arceus, wait till I remind you of some of these games' existences. Right, let's get started. It was a busy month, February. It was probably the busiest month of the year until October comes around. But anyway, you had the Life is Strange Remastered Collection finally came to everything in February. If you're wondering why no one covered it, it's because it's the same fucking games. In fact, they look a tiny bit worse. I don't know what they did. Play the originals; they're cheaper. Then you had here. You ready? February 4th. Hunter, do you remember that Dying Light 2 came out this year?
Yeah, vaguely, because like 1 week at work, it was like the thing that people were talking about, and I was just listening to chatter about it. So I was like, huh. I didn't think
honestly
it was
forgot
going
that
to get
game
this much
existed.
buzz. Yeah.
So there you go. There's a runner for did this game out this year? That's a great runner for that
Oh,
one because I
yeah.
genuinely forgot Dying Light 2 Stay Human came out. Also, can I just say worst title of the year? Dying Light 2 Stay Human, awful title.
Yeah.
It's getting to anime,
Especially since
based
I don't
off of
understand.
light novel.
I'm not sure
title.
what they're
It's
going
right.
for there with
It
that,
doesn't
because
even have a
it's
colon
like,
in the name.
No.
yeah, because like most of the time these stupid zombie games, like I'm pretty sure Dying Light 1 made the point of the humans are the real monsters anyway. So
Yeah, but now you gotta stay human.
yeah,
You just gotta do
but
it, man.
you're being, yeah, it's dumb.
You gotta stay human, pal. You gotta stay human. Ollie Ollie World came out on everything. I've heard nothing but great things. I love the original Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2 Welcome to Hollywood. Haven't played Ollie Ollie World yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about that game. So
I'm interested to try it. Like, I might try and do that before like Roller Drome comes out, just because I'm now fascinated by the studio,
mhm,
and I was interested in them before. It's just now I've got this thing coming up that's piqued my interest more.
mhm. Then on February 10th, we had what quite possibly Hunter, turn your notifications off. I swear.
Sorry.
Well, anyway,
Magarbable.
we might have on February 10th some of the worst games to come out. We can vote maybe for the worst day of the year. This might be one of them. Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece for Cloud. Any thoughts, Kyle, on the Nintendo Switch Cloud ports of Kingdom Hearts?
Played the demo and the audio desynced almost immediately.
They're not good.
Don't think they ever went back to fix it.
They're awful. You know, it's bad when the cloud versions of a PS2 game work worse than cloud games of PS4 games on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know how they fucked it up that badly.
That doesn't make any sense.
Square Enix is a mystery, dude.
No clue. No clue. But then also on that day, Xbox's disaster, Crossfire X, which can also go down under that came out this year. That was a first-person shooter that made by Remedy that
Ugh.
was awful. It got like a 40. It's like the second lowest next to Babylon's Fall. So there you go. Awful day for video games on
Got
February
a 38
10th.
out of 100 on Metacritic.
Even worse. There you go. It's really bad. Also, Put Put Saves the Zoo came to Nintendo Switch on that day. So
Yo, let's go.
let's
I love
go.
that game as a kid.
yeah, not bad.
We
Not
love
bad.
Putt-Putt.
At all.
That game got an 80 on Metacritic.
Of course it did.
Get
Anyway.
owned.
On February 15th, I remember this happening. It came out of nowhere. Cyberpunk 2077 came to PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Oh,
Still
yeah,
haven't
good for
played it,
them.
but I mean,
I guess
the only positive thing I can say to CD Projekt Red about that is well done for just shadow dropping it, because I was 100%
Yeah,
expecting them to be
winding
the
up
guy.
to it would have been a bad
yeah.
idea.
I was 100% expecting them to be like, we're here, guys, it's coming, welcome on in on October 12th, and then we'd all just fucking facepalm. The fact that it just came out, and it's not perfect, it's not the godsend of what we wanted that game to be, but they made it at least playable on next gen. So fair enough. It's still not perfect though. I'm still waiting for them to properly fix the game. I feel I'm gonna be waiting a while yet, but at least they're making the start of a No Man's Sky kind of recovery for that game. I don't know if it ever will reach the heights of No Man's Sky, but I'm hoping they at least make the game that they were initially promising. So yeah. That came out. There's a Dynasty Warriors game that came out this year. Who knew?
I think one of those comes out every year.
True. The Ezio collection came on to Switch. Did not know that. But hey, if you want the 3 Assassin's Creed games people like, apparently you're allowed to like those 3. So go and play them.
Yeah.
This is fun.
That's
We all get to
acceptable.
learn about what came out this year.
Then here we go. February 18th, Horizon Forbidden West came to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's been 6 months since Forbidden West.
Oh man, it has.
How are you two feeling about it?
I loved
All
that
this
game
time
while I
later.
played it. Remember when my disc didn't work the first night I got it?
My Death Stranding disc has that same problem where it still doesn't
Yeah,
work. Thank
yeah.
God for PlayStation Plus having it on the collection so I could get my save. I
Yeah.
finally got my save back. Hooray. But no, here's my thing is, it's still my game of the year so far, I believe, Forbidden West, but it's very interesting how that game, I loved that game. I had a blast. I thought it was great. But it's also left absolutely no like lasting impression on me. It's not one of those games where I'm like, it's not a Breath of the Wild. It's not a Persona 5. I'm not sitting there going, that changed me. I can't wait to go back eventually and visit that world. I'm looking forward to a Horizon 3. I will buy Horizon 3 the day it comes out, because of course I will. I really loved it. But Horizon is 100% one of those franchises where I play it, I have a damn good time, but as soon as those credits roll, it's out of my brain and instantly like it's straight into the storage of my brain and not thinking about it at all. And I haven't thought about it since.
That's about how I felt about Ratchet last year, but I still think about some of the bigger moments in the game from time to time, just like that cool section in Las Vegas.
That's
and
still
some of
the
the stuff towards the end. Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I still think it's the best looking game on PlayStation 5. And especially, I did play a bit of Forbidden West. I went in, they did that patch recently where they made the
Oh yeah.
performance mode look even better. And God, it looks clean as fuck now. Like all of the little things and nitpicks I had are gone. So that game's fantastic. And that just goes to show, guys, if you can, don't be like us. Don't always buy on day one, because if you just waited 3 months later, you get a better experience. But you know,
You can transmog your stuff too, so you
Mhm.
don't have to handicap your armor.
but still a fantastic game. It was still well
Yeah,
worth the original
I really
asking
liked it. It's
price.
still in it's like my top 3 this year so far.
It's still probably my favorite, unless I remember a game that's different. And I'm like, oh,
Unless
yeah,
I
that's my
remember
favorite.
something else.
But it's definitely my favorite as far as I can remember. Destiny 2: The Witch Queen came out on the 22nd of February. I heard nothing about that. I guess the only thing I wanted to bring up about this was obviously Bungie has been acquired by Sony. That happened this year,
Yeah,
right after the
right.
Activision Blizzard
That's
shit.
true.
Both happened this year. Bungie's actually part of PlayStation now, though. The Activision
Yeah,
one's still ongoing. That's still a fucking trial.
the finality of that deal has been penned.
It's just such a weird acquisition. I'm just like, I get it, and I'm grateful that you're not taking hostage Bungie and going, welcome into PlayStation Studios, and you're only a PlayStation developer now. But it's also
It seems like they want
random-
them more for their knowledge of how their online structure works than for their actual games.
I do, because it's a very weird one, because they acquired Haven, which is that Jade Raymond studio, which they're making a AAA multiplayer game, games as a service game. They now have Bungie, and then they also have Deviation Games, they're not
Yeah.
part of PlayStation Studios, but they're working on a PlayStation exclusive. And also, when you have a look at their office photos, they for some reason have murals of DualSenses and only DualSenses, and all of their decor is PlayStation themed. I wonder if they're already been acquired and they're just not announcing anything. But I think they're going to acquire Deviation as well. So I feel like with Haven, Deviation, and Bungie, Sony is really gearing up for those games as a service multiplayer games, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I'm not particularly interested in them.
So I
too
think the
much.
thing here is at least they're getting other people for that, it seems, instead of like making the developers who are
And I mean,
like
Bungie's great. Bungie are some of the best developers of first-person shooters, and Deviation Games also. The leads of Deviation Games are the creators of Call of Duty Zombies. So I really hope that they're doing a co-op game, because in my head, if the Call of Duty Zombies people that left have just got free reign to do what they want without Activision, I'm like, that's something that I might be interested in.
free.
Being free from Bobby Kotick and his fucking despicable ways. Yeah, can't wait.
Fire Bobby Kotick.
But also, it's just one of those things where I'm like, how many live services can the games industry have before it implodes? Because it's like this, like we will talk about them later. But it's like Rainbow Six Extraction, Babylon's Fall. So many people are releasing these games as a service that no one gives a fuck about, and it's just like
They just die immediately.
Sony had Destruction All Stars. How many are there could there possibly be? It's like you're more lucky to get one out than you are. It's like, you've got a handful that work. You've got Fortnite, you've got Call of Duty, you've got Apex, you've got Rocket League, you've got Fall Guys. There's like it's a very small list of free-to-play games that actually work. So it's going to be interesting to see if they manage to pull it off. But yeah, there you go. Acquisition talk out of the way. Microsoft, Activision, whatever that is. I've not changed. My opinion's changed. Just fucking let them have it. Just get rid of Bobby Kotick. I don't care. Make me a Crash Bandicoot game. Fuck off, dude. Like, I don't care. If you don't make a Crash Bandicoot game, though, I will fucking find you. I'll come to your Xbox event and be like, Phil, it's.
Ethan's gonna show up with a posse of Crash suits, like with a posse of dudes in Crash suits trying to harass Phil Spencer to give a new one.
Hey, dude, I'm just saying. Crash Team Racing, new Crash Team Racing game, day one Game Pass. What a win. What an instant win. You've basically got yourself a Mario Kart, which people don't have to pay for because they've got your servers anyway.
Imagine the
Just saying.
imagine the goofy crossover with Forza that would be available after that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Hot Wheels, Lego cars, dude, imagine.
Yeah.
I'd just be so goofy. I'd love to I love goofy shit like that. But anyway, moving on. Enough acquisitions. Let's talk about the other big game that came out in February. You know it. I know it. The whole world knows it. It sold like 60
and
million
they won't let you
copies.
forget it.
Won't let you forget it. The Elden Ring came out for PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, Elden Ring, isn't it? It's like
Sure
what
is.
if Ghost of Tsushima, but everybody else really fucking loved it, and now you feel like it's a harder trick to sell. I liked Elden Ring, but I still think Bloodborne's better. Am I crazy? I still think Bloodborne's better.
Okay, so I still have only played like the 10 hours that I played for the impressions video. I haven't went back to it yet.
I forgot you even played it.
That's my boy.
I haven't went back to it. I think it's mostly because despite the fact that I've only played like 10 hours of it, it feels like a known quantity. So I just want to go and play. So I've been wanting to go and play these other things that I've been wanting to play for a while, so I can get them out of the way.
Yeah.
And to your point, Ethan, the 10 hours of Bloodborne that I played at the start of there, I liked more than the 10 hours of Elden Ring I've played, and that will probably remain the same once I beat the game.
My love-hate relationship with Elden Ring is there's some fantastic boss fights, and the gameplay in terms of the actual Souls combat is probably at its best in Elden Ring than it has been in any other game. And the variety of like playstyles that you can play, and just the character performances are fantastic because they always are in From games. But the open world to me was the biggest sham I have ever seen in game. Like, people have been acting like it's the Second Coming. I'm like, dude, it's a Ubisoft map, but there's fuck all there. They did size, they did like, people always like this stuff around every corner. I'm like, yeah, the same fucking dungeon that was obviously based on the Chalice Dungeon AI, which they just locked the fixed placements of. I'm like, my problem with Elden Ring was, as soon as I had played 30 hours of that game, the beauty of the open world was fucking gone, and I was just straight to the main path, dude. I was like, fucking get out of here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to look at stuff.
It sounds like the inverted version of your experience with Death Stranding.
Genuinely, Death Stranding, I was like, main path, not fucking about, zip lines, and then pissed about for 50 hours. Whereas Elden Ring was explore, explore, explore. God, it's the same 6 dungeons over and over again. I can't be fucked. I'm going to go find bosses. Finding bosses in that game is great. And I love the kind of lack of linearity when it comes to fighting bosses. I love that you're able to go over here and explore that, or go over there, and the game will just kick your ass. And it's like, unlucky bud, you went and explored the wrong fucking neighborhood. Go and explore somewhere else. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
It's just the in-between. People always act, and I hate throwing shade at the Jason Schreier quote all the time of there's something around every corner. But unless that something's a fucking tree, that's not true. Like, there genuinely are parts of the map where there's nothing there, and it's just nothing. And that's okay. But it's just, I'm just kind of sick in a way of every year having this one game where everybody has to kind of go all in on the love and the praise, and then me to just show up and go, it was fine. If anything, I probably would have liked it more if everybody would have been a bit more conservative with their, like kind of moved their views a bit back and kept it a bit more reserved. That's the word I was looking for, reserved. Not conservative. Yeah. Where the fuck did that come from?
No.
Politics, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't have those kind of views.
No politics from me, don't worry. I talk about video games on the internet, dude. You think I know about politics? But no. I wish people just kind of reserved some of their thoughts, because it genuinely did make me like that game less. I still think it's a great game, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just fine. Also, wasn't as hard as people made it out to be, and add difficulty options because I don't care, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know why we
Look at
still have
that.
that argument. There are games that are fab that do the exact same thing that can literally you could copy and paste those kind of systems and it'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Before we move on to March, I
Yes.
think we skipped over the fact that Sifu came out in February,
He did.
and
Oh yes, sorry, I
yeah,
forgot. Not Sifu. I forgot about Sifu again. No.
Everyone's favorite.
Sifu. It's one of my favorites this year. I really enjoyed playing that.
Sorry,
I
I did.
like.
I completely whiffed because it was. What date did it come out on?
You see, it's February 8th, I think.
Yeah.
But they did this thing where if you pre-ordered
I
it,
looked at Ollie
you could
World
play it
and
a couple
completely skipped
days.
Sifu. I'm sorry, it's the same day.
Yeah, they did this thing where if you pre-ordered it, you could play it a couple days early, which is how
Oh
I got to
yeah,
beat
I
how I got to
hate
beat
that
the
shit
game
so much.
before. Under normal circumstances, I do too, but I was also like leaving for the weekend.
You're not giving early access. The release date's there, and you're giving everybody else 3 days late access. Let's be real here. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
hate day 0 editions or whatever. I'm like, no, fucker. That's day 1. You're just getting day 3. Fuck off. Like this is not how it works.
I just needed to take that out because I was leaving for the weekend and wanted to beat the game before
No,
Horizon
that's fair.
came out.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's a really good, like, solid action game. I really liked learning the levels, and its presentation is really great too, as far as like it seems its art style is really unique. I've got a review up that you could go watch for these thoughts actually collected in a thoughtful manner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sifu, one of the best games to come out so far this year, in my opinion. Probably a strong contender for best action.
Yeah. From what I've seen, it was great. It's one of those ones like Kenna last year that I still need to pick up. It's on my list of I will pick you up one day. One day I'll get to you, Sifu.
Sifu's got difficulty options now.
Hey, there you go. Perfect. But no, February, extremely strong month. I promise you, we will not be talking as much about any other month as we did February. I can promise you that. So, let's just get straight in to March, because March was a trickle month. There was more stuff that trickled in after February, so we still got some stuff to talk about. Let's start with the disaster that happened on March 3rd for Square Enix, Babylon's Fall.
Oh man, what a tragedy.
What an awful video game. Like, genuinely. I remember you being like, ooh, I'm excited for Babylon's Fall before that Square Enix conference. And I was like...
It looked cool in its first trailer, man.
And then they turned it into a live service.
And then I was
Here's
like,
the
Platinum
thing.
Games,
I'm
the
just gonna
Tower
say
of
this.
Babel.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. The live service part didn't kill that game.
Well,
It killed what was left of that game. But
it killed
that
it for
art
Hunter
style,
is what I meant.
Yeah, that art style was so... It's quite possibly one of the ugliest games I've ever seen. Like, I feel like even if it was like a Platinum Classic, it still wouldn't have done hot because that art style is rough as anything. It's really...
Yeah, it's like
I'm like A
Platinum.
A
a lot of
effort.
Platinum's games don't look as great as some would like to believe they do, but this one looked especially bad.
just a tad. It was really bad.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that I was interested in this when it got announced, and that trailer at Square Enix's E3 thing last year just totally killed it. Like, not even like it could have been structurally similar without the live service stuff, and I still would have been like, nah, I'm still not interested.
Nah.
I thought it was gonna be a cool little quick weekend action game.
Look what they gave you.
Yeah, they gave me this
Anything but.
weird.
They gave you nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing at all.
Good day, sir.
Good day. Good day.
Well, don't, dude, because the next day Triangle Strategy came out, and
I
I
like-
forgot
okay.
this game came out.
That was a big day for games. Triangle Strategy came out. Gran
Yeah.
Turismo 7 came out, also on that day. And then the biggest game of the year so far, Ryan's Rescue Squad, came out on the exact same
Ryan's
day.
Rescue Squad. Yeah.
Everybody knows. How are you feeling? Obviously, you said you forgot that Triangle Strategy existed. How did you feel overall on Triangle Strategy, Kyle?
I think I played about half of it, and then I don't know when, at some point in the story, my brain just said, I don't care about any of these people on screen. Whatever's going on with their problems, I don't care. So then I just never played the game again. I don't know if it was like just the turn-based tactical combat or what, but something just turned me off the game.
That's a shame.
I
It
started
is.
about 2 hours of it a while back. It's one of those things where I was kinda in between stuff and was just needed something to do, and then something else came out. I'll get to it eventually because I didn't hit whatever wall that Kyle did. The little pieces they were putting in motion seemed to be interesting enough to
I forgot
me
you
so
even
far.
bought it, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I got up to like chapter 11.
Well, I bought it late too, so
Oh,
there's
did you?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it at launch because I was still playing Horizon at the time.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I don't know. I might come back to this game before the year ends, give it another shot, but I don't know. I just fell off.
No,
My
100%
interest just
on that
fell
one.
off with the game. Or maybe I'll
Yeah.
come back to it next year and be like, this game was actually really good.
Fair enough. But yeah.
Triangle strategy underrated?
Who
I think
knows?
that's what the
One next year.
podcast was called.
That is what the podcast was called, I believe.
Well,
Yeah.
get ready for the video next year.
I can't wait. We'll rename the old podcast. It's fine. Obviously, Gran Turismo 7, bit of a controversial one with all its microtransactions. That happened. I think people don't care about that game anymore. So that's all fun.
You know, in
games.
spite of the horrible economy, it seems to still have, horrible in-game economy, I should specify, even though it is applicable regardless. People still seem to be playing it. My one older brother still plays it quite a bit in spite of that because apparently the gameplay is still quite satisfying on a actual when you're in the races kind of level.
It's just, yeah. It's an interesting one, right? I feel like it's the one place where I feel Microsoft shines better than Sony is in its races. I feel like both Forza and Forza Horizon have more of a kind of grip on gaming than Gran Turismo does, because it's like, and this obviously I haven't played Forza Horizon since like January, right? I dropped off that game hard, but it's like people are always playing Forza, where it's like other than the controversy, I've not heard of Gran Turismo since, dude. Whereas like Forza and seems to be always getting constant updates, whereas Gran Turismo's just sitting there going, "Hey guys, you want to pay $20 for a car? Any $20 cars?" It's a bit of a weird one. March 10th, Chocobo GP came out. Everyone's favorite.
The real best racing game.
Square Enix really took a shit this year on the most mid games ever like released.
Dude,
They
this
sure
was
did
this was
put out a
definitely
lot of
just
things.
the things out at the end of the fiscal year month for them, like
Yeah.
BP, Babylon's Fall, Triangle
talked about
Strategy.
They
At
love
least was
chucking shit out
organic.
at the last minute. Yeah.
FF6 Pixel Remaster was out at the end of February.
Sorry, I didn't really mention that because it was more of a.
There's nothing to mention.
Yeah. I did see
The
it, but
less
yeah,
said about that, the better.
it's weird. March is always the chuck shit out because end of physical year kind of stuff. GTA finally came to next gen in March, and what I can safely say is that sure is a port of a decade-old video game. It's fine. It finally runs at a decent frame rate on consoles. That's the biggest pro I can give it, is it runs at 60 FPS now on consoles, which is great. Can't wait for GTA 6 to run like ass again and continue the Rockstar tradition. So glad they killed off Red Dead for it. Can't wait.
07s.
Tunic came out on March 16th. None of us have played it.
Did. Yeah, I'll play it. Well,
we
Sam
God,
played
it comes
it,
out
and
at like the
he
end of
installed it.
September. Yeah, it
I've got it
came out
installed
at
on
like
my
the
Xbox.
it's
I haven't played it.
yeah. It's
Sorry.
supposed to come to PlayStation later this year, so I'll see if I can make time for it then. But I'm interested in it, you know. I think it looks cool.
It looks like if you like 2D Zeldas, that's kind of its little thing, but it's harder than most 2D Zeldas from the looks of it. So have fun.
Yeah,
Souls
it looks
Zelda-likes.
it looks like a cutesier version of how Death's Door was.
Yeah,
in a way, like the lighter, more socially acceptable cousin.
but no, let us know if you guys have played it, what you thought. It's an interesting one. Anyway, March 17th. Speaking of things that were just thrown out and left, just Persona 4 Arena Ultimax came out.
Yeah.
That was such a weird release. They really did just chuck that one out and say peace. Atlas usually is like one game at a time. They're like, yo guys, we release a game, we have a promotion cycle for like a month where we keep talking about it, and then they'll say goodbye. But this was literally a pump and dump, dude. They chucked this shit out and they went out the back door and went Soul Hackers 2. Let's go next game.
Yeah.
Such a weird one. I still haven't picked this up because I've just finished Persona 3, so I guess that I won't have spoilers anymore, so I could play it.
I picked it up and haven't played it yet because I've been waiting for Ethan so we can play it together.
Well, now when it goes on sale, I'll buy it. It's fine.
Hooray!
Is it on Game Pass?
It's not on. It's not on. It's not on Xbox.
Oh, I guess that's true.
It
Yeah.
was on 360, but it hasn't come to Xbox. It's only on Windows, Switch, and PS4. It's so sad. I'm
That's
surprised that's
hilarious.
not coming to game. I wouldn't be surprised if they shadow drop that 1 month like they do with Danganronpa. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh yeah.
Maybe wait for Persona to come to Xbox later this year.
Mm.
March 18th, we finally killed Chaos when Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin came out on everything.
Forgot
Oh,
about that
it sure
game.
did.
What a weird game to come out. Again, Square Enix. What were you
People
doing?
seem to like that more than I was expecting them to, or at least it
Yeah, but I
found
think
people that
everybody
did.
thought
It found
it'd be
people that did
awful.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it came out mid, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we'll take it."
Yeah.
We were genuinely
Pretty
expecting
much.
shite.
I think mid is what people were expecting from the game, though.
I think it's slightly better than mid. I think it was like
Yeah.
fine. It was like all right.
I
Anyway,
think they were looking for a silly time, and they got a silly time.
what else came out this year? Obviously, this month.
Spire,
Obviously,
Tokyo, and
yeah, we'll
Kirby.
get into it. I'm looking at the indies. Just like Memoir Blue came out.
I heard
Other
people
stuff.
mention that when it came
Yeah,
out.
that's why I
but
thought I'd
don't
mention
really,
it real quick.
Yeah.
But that's that. Then on the 25th, we had a big day. Ghostwire
yeah.
Tokyo came out, Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out, and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. All three on the same
Oh,
day.
right. That one.
Mm.
Tiny Tina did exist,
It
Did
and I've
sure
heard
sure
did.
nothing
did.
since.
Yeah, well, I haven't really thought about Ghostwire
Same from
Tokyo
Kirby.
much
All the
since I
Kirby
beat
fans
it.
came out going, "It's the second coming, guys. The greatest video game ever made." And then a week later, no one spoke of it ever again.
And now he's eating things again in some new Nintendo game
Now he's been turned into a fucking cake
for
or something.
Nintendo's Twitter
Yeah.
Direct.
So yeah, Kirby happened. It was apparently very good. Tiny Tina happened. It was apparently a Borderlands game. And then Ghostwire Tokyo came out. Hunter, how are you feeling on that?
I said that it was just kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't horrible, but it was just like I felt like I was just filling time playing it, really.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't thought about it. Something about the way that the action felt when you were actually doing it was off, where it was very kind of visually interesting with the little hand movements and all that, but there was no feedback, I think, was my biggest problem with the game. Yeah, so I haven't really thought about it all that much since, other than it was just, one of the most shoulder shruggy games I've played this year.
It's kind of a sad one to go out on, really, wasn't it? In terms of Bethesda on PlayStation, a bit of a mediocre one to go. Should have been Deathloop. Should have swapped them around.
Yeah.
Deathloop was much better in comparison to Ghostwire.
Yeah,
well.
I'll give Deathloop that much. I felt more playing that.
Okay.
But,
Right. Anyway, it's April time. Here we go. I hope you enjoyed all of your experience of video games releasing, because it's all down here from here, ladies and gentlemen, because April happened and now we sleep. Let's start with April 5th. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga came out.
This was probably the thing I heard about like the most
Did
that
people
month.
forget that Lego games existed? Because people were screaming from the rooftops. It sold 7 bajillion copies, and I'm like, this was when I was
Game
like,
was apparently really good.
it's a Lego game, though. I'm like,
Yeah, a Lego game with Devil May Cry combat.
I'm like,
It has one. It seems to have one aerial combo. Calm down.
I'm like, you guys are chugging your fucking nostalgia juice a bit too hard today, guys, because it looked like a Lego game. I just don't see. I get it. Obviously, Lego Star Wars was the original Lego game from Traveler's Tales, and it's like, I get it. It's the back to form, but also, it's a Lego game, guys. Chill. Come on.
Relax.
But it happened, and I am glad that people enjoyed it, and it was actually a good game because a lot of the Lego games before it, the last like half a dozen, were really mediocre. So I'm glad that they kind of took their time and made something that was great. It's just a shame they crunched their asses off to do it.
Oh, I forgot about that
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm MLB The Show came to everything as well. If you like sports games. Then on April 7th, Kyle was disappointed with Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers.
Square Enix shout out another thing, dude.
Yeah,
They put out content.
aren't you
Heavy
lucky?
quotes.
Say thank you.
Content.
Say thank you, because now it's going to go
The
back in
best-
the vault forever.
The best thing that game did was give me a cool theme for PlayStation 4 that plays nice music when I turn my console on.
That's a good one. I
Suck
like
it,
when
PS5 owners.
I forgot themes existed, to be honest.
I was pleasantly
bad.
surprised when I turned on my PlayStation 4 the other day and heard the transistor humming. I was like, oh, yay, I miss this.
I turned my PS4 on and Ideal and the Real was playing. I'm like, this is great. And then I literally moved one space to the right on my dashboard and it took 25 years. And I was like, don't miss this. Really don't miss the PS4 UI being clunky as fuck. Like, it's crazy how slow the PS4's menus are. I'm like trying to hit my head on the desk every time I'm trying to move because it's really slow. I'm like, I can't take it.
Ethan, stop, your desk can't take any more
And
abuse.
it really can't. It really can't, especially after this Fall Guys event over the past weekend. Definitely cannot. And then the rest, let's be real here, the rest of April until the end was pretty empty. There was ports for Nintendo Switch. There were a couple of ports.
Yeah, 13 Sentinels.
Hunter's favorite game, Godfall, went to other consoles.
Oh my god, no.
Look at you.
Go away.
Yeah, 13 Sentinels and Don't Starve came to Nintendo Switch. And then there really wasn't much for the rest of the
Not
ports.
a lot.
There was
Bugsnax
literally
came
nothing.
to the Switch.
Yeah. Oh, but there was stuff at the end of April. So let's talk about this stuff.
The stuff.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe came to everything on April 27th. I played the Stanley Parable Ultra. It's fantastic. I loved it. It's great fun. There's just nothing. It was such a surprise. I wasn't expecting as much content that they added that they did. It was a very fun night of playing for like 5 hours. It was a really good time. I'm happy that game came out. I'm happy that it was so good. I love how tongue-in-cheek it was with the whole idea of an ultra deluxe version of the Stanley Parable. It's very good. And I still think you should definitely play it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I still think it's fantastic. And it's just a great little dissection on narrative in video games from the early 2010s. It's just fantastic. I love it to pieces. Big Snacks came out for Bugsnax. That's also fantastic. Got to give that a shout out. If you haven't played Bugsnax, you definitely should. It's a very fun game. And then on April 29th, Nintendo started its first month of shitting a game out that was coming out far too soon with Nintendo Switch Sports.
Hooray.
My god, dude, like that game is so content like lacking.
Dry.
It's so empty. It's so
Light.
dead. The content light, content dead, content sparse, whatever you want to say, dude. It's like,
Dead. I
just
remember
such-
you and Sam played that for a night.
I played it for a week.
It was
I put about
entertaining to watch.
let me put it
for a
this way,
little
okay?
bit.
Let me put it this way. I put 10 hours into Nintendo Switch Sports at least. So I did put more into it than Mario Tennis Aces, so it had more content than Mario Tennis Aces at launch. I'll give it that. But at the same time, that's not a good standard to live up to. And it's just, it needed more. It probably needed 8 sports, to be honest. And it just needed the fact that you can't play with, like, you can't earn rewards while playing with friends, and also how you can't, in games like volleyball, where it's 2v2, you can't go in with a friend and play matchmaking. You can only play it in
So weird, dude.
in local online, where you're both playing two
That
characters.
doesn't make sense.
It's just there's so much
That's
stuff in that game that doesn't.
so
You can't go
bizarre.
on. You can't go and play bowling. Me and Sam couldn't go and play bowling and then go against another 38 people and 40 player ball. Can't happen. It's just so Nintendo. And I was so disappointed because I thought Nintendo had learned. There were so many good Nintendo was on such a good streak. 51 Clubhouse games, fantastic online. Mario Party Superstars, fantastic online. I was like, finally, they've learned that people want to play with friends. And then this game comes out and it shits the bed. And you're like, yeah, we're
It's
back to regular
doing the
Nintendo.
same shit they did back in the
And they-
Wii era.
And they're going to do it next month as well. Spoiler alert for fucking Mario Strikers. And it's just like, I can't take it. I just can't take it. Don't want to. I'm good. Fuck that game. It's fine, but it's like the definition of minimum effort. Like you
Content.
barely made the bar. Anyway, and that's it for April. That's genuinely it for April, unless I'm missing something.
Rogue Legacy got a bit of attention when that came out. It was a follow-up to an indie game that people liked back a few years ago.
I forgot that was
Yeah, it came out April 28th.
April 28th. Sorry, it was in the Rogue Legacy 2, sorry. Yeah. You're right. But yeah. Some good stuff in April, but it was all at the start and the end, which was a very weird way to frame it.
Yeah.
Into
May.
Did anything come out in May?
I'm
looking through the list now, and nothing is ringing any bells.
I played Trek to Yomi because I thought it looked kind of cool, and I was like, oh, this is not as cool as I thought it would be.
That's how everyone felt, I believe.
Yeah, it came out May 5th. It was very stylistically interesting as far as like its visual flair. I like the Kurosawa kind of visual vibe to it. The problem is that like as far as its gameplay, it was aggressively uninteresting. Most things, like it tried to have an expansive kind of moveset where you could like do combos and stuff, but the problem was most people died in like the bare minimum like 4 square button combo, so there's no real reason to do anything else. And at that point, I got halfway through the game, and I'm like, what if you just die in 2 square button hits instead? And I turned the difficulty down because I just wanted to finish the game.
I do that far too. To be honest, I've got to that point in my life now where if a game is just tedious, I 100% drop that difficulty. I'm like, you don't deserve my fucking effort if you're going to be that shit. Right? I've got better things to do. My time's more valuable than mashing the square button. I did it with Scarlet Nexus. Turn that shit down to the lowest difficulty because I'm like, I'm not sitting here doing a whole nother playthrough where the bars just take forever to go down, and they still took forever on very easy. And it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
So yeah, Trek to Yomi wasn't as great as
that did come out on May 5th. Yeah.
Yeah. Reviewed for a 71. Unlucky me.
Unlucky Hunter.
We'll talk about. There were some releases. Danganronpa 2 came to Xbox.
Unpacking came out.
Ayuden Chronicle Rising. I was going to get to that in a second. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the
basically,
list.
I was just going to talk. Xbox has had a very shit year. As an Xbox owner, I will say this. They've had a shit year. There's fuck all coming out this year. Xbox has really dropped the ball. Next year looks like it's going to be a lot better for them. But they've really fucked it up, really. But one of the pros that Xbox has really done this year, as they've really gone out of their way, they've been saying Japan for like the past 5 years, and then they show the most arbitrary fucking Japanese video game that you've ever seen in your life. They'll literally every year Phil Spencer goes on stage and goes, "We love Japan now. Here's Dynasty Warriors," and we're like, for fuck's sake, like, come on, Phil, give us something good. And he's really been working on it. Obviously, Persona's coming later in the year. Danganronpa has been just shadow dropping every couple of months. 1 and 2 have shadow dropped. It was like January. It was I think it was February and May, right? I wouldn't be surprised if next month Danganronpa V3 comes to Xbox as well.
That'd be cool.
The Xbox has been doing a really good job of diversifying their portfolio of games when it comes to Game Pass, because now they have the entirety of Yakuza. They will probably have the entirety of Danganronpa. They're gonna have the entirety of Persona.
They'll even give you that weird summer beach thing that came with the Decadence collection eventually, probably.
Yeah, probably the summer camp thing. It's coming to PlayStation 4, so
of course
it is.
It's shit. Don't bother spending $20 on it.
I haven't played any Danganronpa, Ethan.
Yeah.
I watched the anime.
No need. One day if we ever do a Danganronpa kind of like book club or whatever, It'll just be one of us playing it and the rest of us doing commentary. We'll just be watching. We're not gonna have 3 people fucking sit there and play them, dude. They're just videos in themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If you
it
just
was
kind of pay attention to someone who's watching or someone who's playing the game, it's about the same experience.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you're just sitting there and pondering the mystery yourself.
But yeah, so they've been doing a really good job of getting Japanese stuff on Xbox, so fair enough. But yeah, on May 10th, Unpacking came to PS4 and PS5. Oh, that was for PS4 and PS5, dude. It technically came out last year on Xbox. November 2nd.
Well,
I'm going to
good for
talk about it anyway.
Xbox.
Unpacking's great. Unpacking is a fantastic indie game that I could not recommend enough. It's fantastic. It's kind of, if you've kind of got that kind of compulsive brain where you're like, everything must be in the right spot, fucking stick the sock in the drawer, you fuck, and then you just keep doing it. And it just tells, it's a great piece of environmental storytelling as you follow someone over the years, and it just works. It just works. You're just unpacking someone's room over the years, and it just works brilliantly. And you start getting connected to these characters you never meet and you never see and you never hear from. It's fantastic. Couldn't recommend it enough. It's also only like 2 hours long, so if you're one of those people that are like, why are video games so long these days? Play Unpacking. It's great.
Yeah, that's the spirit. The same day, I didn't play this, but I played I played like a large part of the first one. Salt and Sacrifice was this cool Metroidvania looking game that came out. The first one was called Salt and Sanctuary. Came out back in 2016. I want to say it was neat. I enjoyed it. Kind of this dark, broody, art style to it. I liked it.
Fair enough. Then for the rest of the month, it's just ports and little bits and pieces. There's really not that much that came out that's worth talking about.
Epic. Thank you.
Really,
very cool.
Really slow month for video games. Maybe that's why we're
Yeah.
feeling the drought. It's because May and June have been really dry. I feel like that's maybe why we're feeling the drought. Anyway, let's talk about June, which was, again, slow month. Also, dare I say, not a good month either. Why am I saying that, you might ask? Well, let's start with this one. On June 2nd, Diablo Immortal came to mobile.
Oh my god, I forgot when. I knew this game came out recently. I forgot when it was.
Anyone who want to spend far too much money on a video game that's not very good?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Activision genuinely said, fuck it, dude, we're the bad guys. Let's
Might
just
as well
be the bad
embrace it.
guys. Like, genuinely.
Yeah,
like,
God.
I'm scared for Overwatch 2. And Diablo 4, both of them. I am terrified for those video games because Diablo 4, I'm scared to see what kind of tricks they pull on that, and Overwatch 2 is going free to play. I do not want to see what the fuck they do with that game.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's going to be like, it's going to be like £20. It's going to be like $20 per skin of Tracer, and it's like, yeah, great. Love it. Buy the season pass, all that shit. It's not going to be great. But yeah, fucking, what an absolute tragedy. Elder Scrolls Online had an expansion. No one really cared, from what I've seen. Was there anything else? Here we go. June 10th. Nintendo fucks it up again. Mario Strikers Battle League comes out. No one cares.
Yeah, I didn't even pick this. I didn't even pick this one up yet. Like, it's one of, like, after the tennis and golf last year, I'm like, I'm not even really gonna play this until I'm physically hanging out with people, so I don't need to buy it. Right,
that's the thing, is it's not even good. I played the demo. It's not fun. It's just not a good game. I really don't like it.
Fair enough.
I don't know what it is. I'll say this much, right? Tennis gameplay was fun, no content. Golf gameplay was all right from the little I played over at a friend's, but again, no content. This game, the least amount of content out of any of the Nintendo Switch Mario sports games. Plus, in my opinion, it has the worst controls of all of the sports games. So it's like the worst package of them, and I'm like, I don't get how you've done this. You've been literally bullied, Nintendo, on the internet about how terrible these Mario sports games have been on the Switch, and yet you've done a hat trick of 3 terrible ones in a year, in a back to back to back. Like, that's impressive. I really hope the next Switch has better sports games, because I feel like the fans of those series deserve them.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bummer. Just like each one of them's been the same experience essentially. Just this one like it's functional, but not as good
Mm.
or not as much to do as the ones from the N64 and or GameCube.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be pretty easy to get more content
You'd
into a
think.
game than an N64 game.
I don't know. It's a shame as well because Luigi's Mansion 3 was a great game as much as I didn't finish it. But, you know, it lost my interest, but it was well made.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was the team that made this game that's the problem. I think it's Nintendo just greenlighting them and giving them like 8 months to
yeah.
work on it and then just shitting it out and going, we'll finish it afterwards. We'll finish it in DLC. It's been the
Yeah.
Nintendo way for a while in terms of these kinds of games, and it really sucks. Good news is Supermassive Games fans finally got a good game again on June 10th because The Quarry came out and people seem to really like that. So there you
Yeah,
go.
this one got a bunch of traction just because it got a bit more to it than the typical dev cycle of these Dark Pictures games.
It was finally the kind of successor to Until Dawn I think people really wanted, where it was like a full-blown kind of campy horror movie kind of thing again, where these Dark Picture things have been like 3 or 4 hour kind of underproduced kind of video games, whereas The Quarry was this big budget kind of, like I say, 80s camp fest kind of very, well, not even 80s, more 90s kind of like horror kind of fest. Like it screams of like stuff like Scream and stuff like that to me, and it's like people seem to really enjoy it. So fair enough.
Yeah.
Happy people could finally enjoy it. Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7 came to PS5. I forgot that happened.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I even knew that happened.
Yeah, they got their little upgrades. I think they're free for people.
They're free. They got the
yeah.
standard. They got the standard 60 FPS, ray tracing, those buzzwords.
Classics.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
We love buzzwords.
the ray tracing on the absurdly wet environments of Resi 2 is probably really fun to look at. Because like Resident Evil 2 is an abnormally wet game.
Dude, that is the
when they said ray tracing, when they say ray tracing in the trailers for this, that's exactly where they went to, was Resident Evil 2, by the way. That is exactly where they went to. They were like puddles, look, puddles. Anyway,
that makes sense.
June 23rd, Sonic Origins came out. What a fucking tragedy that was. Like, ooh. Yeah, it was really bad. It was a really bad collection.
The guy,
I don't know why I'm
guy,
questioning it. It's a 3D Sonic game.
It's not. It's the 2D collection.
Sonic Origins.
Oh wait,
this is the
2D. I was thinking
games.
Frontiers.
No, Frontiers is not out yet. That tragedy's out in November, I think, or December. They don't have a date on it.
But
Sonic games are all the same in my head.
Wasn't the thing like Sonic Mania guy said that Sega goofed up some of his work in between like the passing off of what was going on?
Yeah, it was really badly handled. There was 4 games in the collection. They were all handed to different people, and it's just nothing worked. It was just not a good. Yeah, it was just handed they had different people working on different games, and it just all didn't come together. So, bit of a rough one for Sonic fans.
Yeah, before you go on to the next thing, June 16th, Neon White came out. I started playing that
fantastic.
A little bit. And yeah, it's real cool. I like this quite a bit. It's got its silly little anime vibe going for it. It's this kind of first-person platforming action game.
Mm-hmm.
You kill the things in the level and you try to get through it as quick as possible. And for however they do it, like they managed to make the little time limit, the tiers of like the medals and the time you gotta hit just within reach enough to make you want to try again. Because like if I was like a minute off of one of these, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll just move on to the next one. But I've only ever been like a couple seconds off and then try again for the next tier. And it'd be like, oh, just missed it by a little bit again.
Yeah, this is a game I really want to check out at some point. I've heard nothing but good about it.
Yeah, same.
I nearly picked it up in the draft and I was like, oh, I should have. I know. The thing was, I had the thought of, this seems like one of those games that I would have picked last year that would have been like...
You thought it was a Chris Tales. You thought it was a Chris Tales.
Yeah, it looked cool, but it would have been
Underperforming.
72.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the opposite, so that's a bummer. But I'm glad it's pretty good. Like, yeah, I'll be interested to play more of it. I cleared like the first world. It seems like the first collection of levels. It's a fun time.
Indeed. Then 24th was, I guess, the bigger day of the month, where Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes came out. I bought it, haven't played it. That's my bad. I played an hour of the tutorial. I went of the demo and I was like, this is a Warriors game. And it's been like 3 years since I've played Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I was like, okay, I could probably get through this to play the story because I like the characters, but also I can't be fucked to play a Muso game right now. So I'm just going to put you on the back burner. So I'll get to it. It'll probably be a game where I play it, I don't know, next year. Who knows? I don't know when I'm going to play it.
On a rainy day.
It seemed decent enough. And then obviously the other one, AI The Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, got a review up for it. It's a really solid mystery game. I like it just as much as I like the first game.
Just as much? Does that mean you think they're equal, or do you think that there's one better than the other?
You see, that's the thing, is I've been going back and forth in the week that I've played it. Like, I'm like, some things are real cool in this one, and it's, yeah.
Okay. That's such a non-answer.
I know. I have to sleep on it a little bit. I have to sleep on it for a little bit. I'm not just gonna say it right away.
Telling your kid which one's the favorite. I like both of you.
Anyway, but yeah, that came out, which was pretty good. And then DNF Duel finally came out on June 28th. You played it, Kyle?
I did.
How'd you feel?
It's a very fun game. This game is very silly. Like, every character in this game is absolutely cracked with buttons that take up like half the screen. It's the funniest fighting game I've played in a long time. I have a review.
What if we just made everybody overpowered?
Dude. And the other thing is, like, so you played the beta test with me, Hunter.
Yeah, I played the beta.
So you remember, like, Striker and Grappler, the two get-in-your-face characters?
Yeah, Striker was cool, and Grappler was super slow.
Like, their buttons go nowhere, but when they get in your face, you lose, like, half your health bar. It's just the funniest game I've ever played, dude. Like, this is, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 levels of wacky, and I am here for it. This game is just absolutely Looney Tunes. It's such a simple game to get into also. Like,
yeah, it doesn't seem to be
button inputs. It's super accessible to new players.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be much of a barrier to entry when I was playing the betas. Like, you play fighting games a lot more than I do, and I'd still squeak away with a win a few times when I was playing against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Nice.
A proper review for this game is in the works.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hopefully have it out before the end of the month.
Fingers crossed. Portal Companion Collection came to Nintendo Switch. I've played the whole of Portal 1 on that collection, and I've played a tiny bit of Portal 2 to test how they are running. They're fantastic. They're the best console ports of the Portal games. If you're going to play Portal on console, play it on Nintendo Switch. They're both great. They're everything good about Portal without the really terrible ports that the consoles used to have, where it was like 30 frames per second, and on PS3 especially, Portal wasn't particularly that great. Now it's all 60 and it's running great.
Being able to walk around wherever you want to, like, the whole Switch thing, with the way Portal is segmented with the room by room stuff.
Yeah, it's a good pick up and play game. Well. And then on June 30th, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak came out. DLC day.
Yeah.
And Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. Haven't played either.
I haven't got to it. I haven't got to Cuphead, that is. I haven't played Monster Hunter at all, so
I bought Monster Hunter. That game's fun.
I like how Kyle waited till the DLC to buy the base game.
Look, dude. I saw that it was on sale. This game, I don't know if I said this on the podcast or if I just thought about it. It falls into the same category of game as Animal Crossing is to me, where I'm glad I've played this game. I am never gonna play another one.
Oh,
I am never
boo,
gonna play another
boo.
Monster Hunter.
I will bully you into Animal Crossing, whatever the fuck it's called in 8 years' time. I'll just fucking, I'll
Dude, if it
find where you
wasn't for the
live.
pandemic, I would not have bought Animal Crossing.
Dude, I'm getting you in. I need pears, Kyle. Fucking open your door. You're making another island, Kyle. I need pears.
Dude, I wonder how my island's doing.
Who knows?
Have you
I
seen any
remember
more
when we
mail,
checked-
Ethan?
Yeah, I was
No, I
about to
haven't played
bring
the
up the
game in
mail
months.
thing. I remember when we checked back about Animal Crossing in the back half of the first year of the podcast, and
That
Ethan
was
was
funny.
sending Kyle mail after he'd
That
quit
was
playing
really
for months.
funny.
I needed someone to send items to for Nook Miles, and I was like, "Who's not playing the game? I'm gonna send it to them so they don't see messages." And then I just got bored, so I just started messaging people that I knew weren't playing the game anymore. So if they turned it on in like 5 years, they just get a weird message from me in their mailbox. It's just like, but it's all
Oh.
good. But no, I haven't played either. I feel like when I play Cuphead again, I need to just play the whole game because it's been that long. So I'm like, I'm not in the mood to play Cuphead at the moment. One day.
Yeah. I hear that Miss Chalice makes life substantially easier for people if you play as her.
Oh, that's good. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
be the thing, so I don't have to try as hard. And then finally, we'll talk about the first half of July. There's not been too much, so we don't have too much to talk about. Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series came out for everything. Unless you're in America, then it's only digital, but it came out physically here in Europe. I'm living. It's
Hooray.
on the shelf. I've got it on Switch.
Oh,
It's
nice.
fine. It's Klonoa that you know. If you like Klonoa, you'll probably like those ports. So it's fine. AI the Somnium Thousand of Honor Initiative came out with a European tax on July 8th for Europe.
Oh yeah, it got let out of European jail.
That's why I haven't played it,
Free
because
the IBA.
that's why I refuse to play it. You delay the game, I delay my fucking purchase. Fuck you, AI the Somnium Files. Play games with me. Not happening. And then I guess the last one I want to talk about, unless there's one that I forgot about, is Escape
seeing
Academy. Came out
Oh, yeah, I heard
on
someone
July
mention
14th.
this
I played that today.
last
It's
week.
fantastic. It's basically what if escape rooms, but in a video game. So if you've ever done an escape
Rooms, the
room,
video game.
yeah.
That
So if you've
sounds
done
like
escape
fun.
rooms in real life with some friends, it's basically 10 escape rooms in a video game, and you just gotta go figure it out, and it's really fun. It's very short. It's only like 4 hours long, but it's very good.
That
little
seems like
game.
the kind of thing that might be fun to actually collect a friend or so to
It has
watch
co-op.
you play
It
it.
has online
Oh,
co-op as well.
all right.
You can play it
Yeah.
by yourself or in local or in online co-op.
Yeah.
I played it on my own. I had fun. It was fun. There's only a couple of solutions where I'm like, but I feel like if you had a friend, I feel like you could bounce off ideas. You'd probably have a better
Yeah.
chance. But here. And yeah, up until now, that is everything that we can think of. Obviously, Stray onwards will be in the future because they haven't come out yet. If you're watching this on later in the week and you're like, why didn't they mention Stray? Now you know. We haven't played it. It's not out yet.
You'd want to shoot your shot about Stray right now.
I think
Make
it's gonna
some predictions.
be. I think it's gonna get an 81 on OpenCritic.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I respect that choice.
It seems like people are really jazzed for it as far as but I don't know if they're jazzed. I don't know if it's going to maintain the level of excitement once the game is actually out and it's a game about a cat is actually put into practical practice,
Yeah,
But it still looks like it'll be a decent game regardless.
I have no clue how it's gonna do. I feel like it's decent. I think it's like I said. I think 81 is probably where it's gonna sit. I think it's gonna be fine. I also thought reviews would be out by now. You know when?
Yeah.
There were people on Twitter. There were a load of games people on Twitter going, "Friday's gonna be a great day for video games, everybody." And I was like, "Okay, reviews going
What was
out
it
for
supposed
shit.
to
What's
be?
reviews going out?" Nothing happened, and I was like,
Nothing.
I thought Xenoblade reviews were going out because here's a little inside baseball if you don't know. Review copies of that entire game are out. They've been out for about a week and a half. People have finished Xenoblade 3. We're living in a world where people have finished Xenoblade 3. That's sad. Where's my copy, Nintendo?
And we're
Fuck.
not a part of that world.
I shilled for so hard, dude. We've literally had hundreds of people listen to us bitch about Xenoblade. Where's my fucking copy? Damn. We have audio listeners as well, Nintendo. Please, just give us a damn copy. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty
just
please.
It's crazy.
Is 200 viewers on the podcast episode not enough for you?
That's not even including audio.
Nintendo, if you
That's not even
want to
including
create some
audio.
chaos, offer it to like us as a collective, and then make these two fight for it.
Oh, we wouldn't fight. I just wouldn't tell Kyle that I have a cut. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Wow.
kidding. Kyle would get it. Kyle would probably get it.
Dude, don't even feel bad. The guy, NL, who did the speed run of Xenoblade 2 at GDQ, he didn't get a review copy either, or an early copy.
Yeah, not surprised by that. But also, I'm like, Nintendo doesn't give review. Nintendo only gives review copies out to select people. I'm talking about if
Yeah.
you're not going to make a review, you're not getting a copy. It's like, it's a very elusive club. I'm not surprised speedrunners and people like that didn't get an early copy. And to be honest, in my personal opinion, I don't think they should. I think as little people as possible should get copies, because there's nothing worse from a creator standpoint than having a creator monopoly of certain creators just having content and everybody else not having it. It sucks for some games because people can easily spoil stuff. Like Xenoblade, people can post the final chapter instantly and people can do this and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's best to just give people some
Yeah.
breathing room. People like an Al are going to enjoy the game and play the shit out of it and make enough content when it comes out regardless. They don't need that extra 2 weeks.
Dude, he's had Xenoblade 2 content since the game came out.
Exactly. He's not going to run it. He's not, that extra 2 weeks isn't going to really change anything. If anything, it's just going to make it easier for everybody else to not be spoiled for a little bit. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But now
I've had to take to muting words on Twitter.
Oh, I'm not in those circles enough. I'm just playing it hard. I'm like, hey, come at me. You can't find me.
It's either that or purge half of my following list, and I'm not about that.
True.
So,
Nah, that's fair enough.
one of
I
these
respect
options
it.
is less effort than the other.
Purge the other half instead.
That's the spirit.
Hey,
That's
bye,
one way of doing
Hunter.
It was nice working with you, pal.
Fun shit posting with you.
Right. Let's talk about the future real quick before we go. Are there any games coming out in the rest of the year that you still have your eyes on? Obviously, October is a fucking cluster of a month. But I'm just looking through the rest of July. Obviously, we have Xeno 3 coming out at the end of the month. Live
Yeah.
Alive's also coming out, if you're into that.
I picked it up.
Spider-Man's coming to PC. I'm sure people are going to really enjoy that. Soul Hackers 2 from Atlas is a very weird one because it's right in, but it's very weird because I was like, oh, that's interesting, but now it's literally got less than 3 months before the fucking Persona fans say that Atlas doesn't make any other video games. So it's like,
Oh yeah, it's So I don't know if I'm gonna have time to get to Cult of the Lamb. It comes out
Oh, yeah.
like early August, so I might still be busy playing Xenoblade depending on how long that game is. But Cult of the Lamb looks interesting. It's like it's got like it's the town building sim thing mixed with like a roguelike dungeon crawly kind of idea where you're a lamb who's creating a cult, and it's got a fun art style and it looks like a fun time. I would like to get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Another problem is that like in the next 5 days, Roller comes out from that, and I'm also super interested in that one. It's the roller skating shooty game.
Yeah, August is a weird month because there is stuff that I like Soul Hackers 2. I'm like, am I gonna try Soul Hackers 2? I don't know. Also, Saints Row is the day before, and I'm like, Saints Row is also a game where I'm like, I might pick up Saints Row, but I'm still not sold on it. I'm still 100% expecting that to be a 70 and not be that good. So it's like, I don't know what it is. But also, that game has Max Mittelman and Erica Lindbeck as voice character options, and I'm like,
Oh,
that
that's
they're
good
great.
stuff.
They're great options for the boss character because
Yeah.
I don't
Max,
understand play it.
yeah, that's
Max Millman's like the
that's-
perfect voice actor
Yeah,
to voice
that's
the
the
protagonist
perfect
of a
one
Saints
for
Row
that kind of
game.
thing.
Like I'm like,
Yeah,
he sits right up there with
America
Troy
Lindex
Baker and
rated
Nolan North.
everything
Is
she
like
does.
perfect. So I might pick up Saints Row. I might pick up Soul Hackers as well. We'll see. But it's an interesting month. September. Is anything coming out in September that I can think of? Splatoon 3, of course.
Oh yeah, Splatoon. That'll
Splatoon.
be a good time.
I'm sure we'll have fun with that.
Yeah.
Tunic. That's when Tunic comes to PlayStation. But that's really
Yeah,
it. Really, there's other little bits, but not really anything.
It comes out at like the 27th though, so barely enough time to squeak it out if before the October rush hits.
There's also obviously the Diofield Chronicle, that other Square Enix thing.
Oh
They're
yeah,
just shitting out
the
games this
Triangle
year, dude.
Strategy
Oh,
again
yeah.
game.
ST3D.
October, here you go. Crazy. Nier Automata comes to Switch. No More Heroes goes to everything else.
I think you mean No
on the
Man's Sky. Or
No More Heroes 3 comes to everything else
Oh, okay.
on October 6th.
Yo, Nickelodeon Kart Racers.
Nickelodeon Kart Races, No Man's Sky.
3.
Plague Tale.
Finally.
Then literally back to back to back to back. Plague Tale Requiem, Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, Persona 5 Royal, Scorn, Gotham Knights, Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, all within the span of 3 weeks. All of those are coming out in the span of 3 weeks. That's crazy.
Dude.
I
was already like, I hope I can beat Plague Tale Requiem before gets time for God of War, and now Bayonetta comes out at the end of the month, and I'm like, man,
Then November.
this sucks.
November, very quiet. I don't know why no one decided.
November's
what
very
if we
chill.
release? Yeah, because obviously you stay away from God of War Ragnarok. But other than that, everything else is kind of free real estate. You stay away from Pokemon as well. There's plenty of space there. And then obviously you have Callisto Protocol in December, which is
that's
very
gonna
much looking
rule
forward to.
so good.
Still have Hogwarts Legacy to slip in somewhere if that doesn't get delayed. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets moved to 2023, to be honest.
They
haven't said anything about it.
Not yet. They said it's holiday 2022.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
I think that's going to get to us. But the thing is, here's the thing, right? Suicide Squad's scheduled for spring 2023. Here's my prediction. Gotham Knights stays on course. Hogwarts Legacy gets pushed to spring 2023. Suicide Squad gets pushed to the end of summer, probably.
Yeah.
And then we have a Suicide Squad versus Spider-Man 2, and we see what happens there.
I don't think Suicide Squad's chances are very good.
I'm hoping
Assuming,
for Suicide
of course,
Squad. I'm praying for Suicide Squad.
Out.
I'm praying. Yeah, Spider-Man's not coming out. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good point, but yeah.
And then you got Kirby's Dream Buffet to slot in somewhere.
Did that get a
buffet?
Did they get a date attached
No,
to it,
just-
or did they
just
just go, hey,
2022.
it's coming out?
Witcher
Just
3's Witcher 3 is also supposed to still be getting its next gen port this year. That's not going to happen either. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Still plenty of games though. Plenty of games. So, I guess final thoughts then. How are we feeling, guys, about this year?
Weird year.
It's a weird
been
one,
so
right?
far.
Yeah. It's such a weird year.
It's funny because, like, you know, with the couple of good things that there were at the beginning of the month or the beginning of the year, it's like, oh, this was a strong start, seemed to fizzle out, and then things started filling in very aggressively towards the end of the year, where now, like, once it gets done, it could be a potentially really strong year looking back, even if it is uneven as all get out.
I think in the end it'll be a much stronger year than last year overall.
Yeah.
But still, 2020 was crazy. What a good year to start the podcast, because we genuinely we started with Animal Crossing and Doom. We then got Final Fantasy VII Remake. We got Persona 5 Royal. You got Last of Us Part 2. You got Ghost of Tsushima. You got the whole PlayStation and Xbox launch at the end of the year. You had you had the little few games like Clubhouse games that Nintendo chucked out around the place. You had Hades. You had so much.
Yeah, Hades carrying the second part of Switch's year that year.
There was so much stuff. And then 2021 was bits and pieces. We got Ratchet and Clank. We got Returnal. Forza. Halo came out and people forgot about it. Deathloop. It was a weird year. But this year, I feel like by the end of it we'll be a lot more positive than we are now. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of the year,
If God of War shit, I'm crying.
all in all,
If God of War shit, I'm
there's
crying.
there's no way, right?
I think it'll be right. At the very worst, it'll be solid. I'm just
Yeah, like I
hoping
don't
it's
think
not
it's gonna
I'm
be.
hoping it's not a disappointment in terms of story. Is my one hope for that game is please be good, please. Especially if you're wrapping up the Norse saga in this game, please.
Yeah.
Because we all thought it was a trilogy, and the fact that they've done an anti-Final Fantasy VII remake and knocked off an entry and just doing two, I'm like, oh,
Well, I mean,
don't rush it.
to be fair, if there's not really like, I don't think that there's anything about the first game that would imply that the grander story needed to be 3. Like they obviously hinted at
I think
another
we all
one.
just assumed it was going to
So
be 3 because
people just assumed it was going to be 3 because trilogies are just
the way to
like,
go, right? You know, Horizon
yeah,
will be a trilogy. Ghost of
trilogies are just
Tsushima
the
will
thing that
probably be
people
a
like.
trilogy. Last of Us will probably be a trilogy when they get done remaking them
1,
all
2, and 1
Yeah.
again. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, it's been an interesting one. But let us know how you guys feeling about 2022 so far. Let us know because it's been an interesting one. Yeah, hopefully there's some good stuff to come in terms of the fantasy critic. We haven't really spoken about it, but at the moment, Hunter's in first with 90 points. Kyle's in
Kyle's
second
probably
with
gonna
86.
pass me with his 3 games that come out here in a little bit. It feels like it's still anyone's to play for since you're gonna get God of
Oh
War.
yeah.
You're gonna get Last of Us, which is a free 90,
I'm in last
God of
currently
War.
with 54, but I also have only had 4 games come out this year so far.
Yeah.
I still have God of War, Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3. I also have Mario Rabbids, which is probably going to score pretty
Like,
decently.
in the
Last of Us
last 2
Part
weeks,
1.
you've had so many of your games get announced.
Yeah, I'm finally arriving.
Kyle, if God of War, well, Last of Us is gonna come out, but if God of War does not get pushed, and then like miraculously Hollow Knight also comes out as cheat, we lose.
If Hollow Knight's not coming out this year. Let's be real here. Hollow Knight's not coming out.
Probably
Yeah, it's
not,
not.
but you know,
It better not. I counterpicked it.
I can't believe you counterpicked that of all things.
Look, when I
And
saw
not,
that
like-
trailer didn't have a date at the end of it, I said that's not coming out this year.
Oh, I did too. It's fair. I said the exact
Yeah.
same thing. But no. Anyway,
But yes,
I was
with my-
holding on to the potential of Bayonetta just not making it this year, and then I'm like, well, there goes that.
oh no, I was under the impression that game's coming out whether they want it to or not. Because I'm like, that game's been in the oven for that long. They're chucking that shit out to die, and here we go. They're chucking it out to die.
Yeah.
I will say that I think this last trailer for Bayonetta looked better than the.
It was way better.
resurfacing one.
Way better.
Yeah.
Well, let me
yeah,
get
I
this.
think
It was a
looked
bad
better.
trailer. I think it was a bad trailer in terms of the composition of it, but the game looked great. It's just the trailer was
Yeah, I
ass.
guess that's fair. The trailer wasn't gonna like get anyone who doesn't know what Bayonetta is to pay attention to it, but as someone who was like, you know, something about the one from last year was a little off to me.
rough. It looked rough.
This one,
yeah,
this one seems like my worries are alleviated a little bit.
it looked like it was running really well from what I saw anyway. So that's good.
Also, their little extra mode video made me laugh with the mild censorship.
Oh yeah.
I still think they're cowards for not having the opposite mode where it was like horny mode. Like, regular mode, like subtle mode, and horny mode. Like crank it up even further. I'd be like, I'm surprised. That would be a Bayonetta
like,
thing.
A bunch of people were like, man, I could have really used this when I was playing Grand Theft Auto when I was like 10 and my parents walk in.
Yeah. True. But anyway, that's it for our little discussion, I guess. So as always, our links are on screen right now. You can go and follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything outside of the podcast. Cal's going for PBs and Crash 2. Jack's going in PBs and Crash 2. I'll show up, I guess.
Earlier today.
Got a PB earlier today? Yeah.
3 whole
Woo!
seconds.
3 whole seconds. What a riot.
Dude,
You love to see
okay,
it.
so real talk. This is like a side tangent. This run felt so much better than my old PB, even though it's a 3-second difference. It just felt like I played better, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
Well, that's
I get
good.
it. No, that's fair. That's fair. Very fair indeed. But no, so keep up to date with all that stuff. PBs are abound. I can feel it. But if you don't care about speedrunning, that's cool. It's for nerds.
That's
You can go and
fair.
follow us on Twitter at Hot Gamers Only to keep up to date with the podcast, or subscribe at youtube.com/Hot Gamers Only. But hey, if you don't want to look at our stupid speedrunning faces, that's cool. Go to your favorite podcast service, search for Hot Gamers Only.
Are you not a speedrunner?
I don't do
Podcasts,
speedrunning, but I do the goofy
Spotify,
hand thing. That's
you
funny.
name it, we're on it. Go and follow us on your favorite podcast
Nice to
service
meet
or
you,
YouTube.
Pavlov.
We appreciate you. Everyone that leaves a 5-star review, thank you very much. Keep doing that. And yeah, that's it for this week, I guess. Thank you for listening to us ramble about the year. We'll be back next week, not to ramble about the year, but
To
Stray will
ramble
be out,
about
so we'll
something
ramble about
else.
cats.
Stray will
probably.
be out. So
Yeah, we,
yeah,
Cal,
talk
you can
about
play that because you have PlayStation Extra. Lucky you. It's
Oh,
free on
shit, I
Extra.
can.
Yeah, we're all gonna play a
Yeah.
cat game.
Look
We're
at
all
you
gonna play a
go.
cat game.
Is this the
Spoiler
first game
cats.
that we've all been able to play?
Probably.
Holy shit.
No, it's probably Definitive. It was probably Xenoblade Definitive.
What a Christmas miracle it
But
is.
no.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
Xenoblade Definitive would have been the first thing
I
that
want
we
to
all
say
played.
thank you so much.
We all played Ghost of Tsushima for a little bit.
Yeah, but that game
True.
was bad.
True.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
And on that note, thank you so much for listening / watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. But yeah, until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.